Hey everybody, welcome to my video on how to get a dark henna stain. Quite a few of you have asked this question, and I'm going to go ahead and make a video just about getting the dark stain because I'm sure that this video is going to be a very popular one. While putting this video together, I made a list of the things that I do to get a dark henna stain and ended up coming up with 14 different things. So I have 14 tips that I'm going to give to you now. The first tip is to start with fresh, good quality henna. Using old henna is not going to get you dark henna stains. Fresh henna harvested within the last 2 to 3 years is probably best. If you go to your local Indian market or you go to Middle Eastern market and they have henna there, but it has no crop date, I don't suggest buying it because you don't know when that henna was harvested. Henna sometimes sits on shelves for 3, 4, 5 years and no one buys it, and then you show up and you buy it and then it doesn't work and you get those like yellowish, brownish, bruised banana looking stains, and then you email me and ask me why this happens. I get that question a lot. I don't mean don't buy from them, but don't buy henna that has no crop date. If nobody knows the crop date, we don't know where it came from or how long it's been sitting on a shelf or whether it's been stored properly or anything like that. So get fresh, good quality henna. Tip number 2 is mix your henna properly. Adding hot water to henna powder and letting it sit for 5 minutes is not mixing it properly. There are a lot of people who do that. It doesn't get very dark stains. It will get you like an orangish stain, but that's not what we're looking for. This video was about those dark brown, maroon, almost black stains, but not black, because I don't encourage you to use black henna. Tip number 3, add sugar to your henna paste. It will keep the henna from drying too quickly after the paste is applied to the skin. You want to keep the wet paste on your skin as long as possible for the stain to be as dark as possible. I don't encourage using hair dryers or using fans or swinging your legs and your arms around to get the henna to dry fast, because that's not what you want. You want it to stay wet longer so the stain is darker. And the sugar, for whatever reason, makes the henna paste stay wet longer. It doesn't dry as quickly, and I don't know why it does that. I'm sure there's some scientific reason for it, and I'm unsure why, but somebody gave me that tip. Another henna artist gave me that tip, and so I'm passing it on to you. It's something that I use, and it's something that works for me. Tip number 4 is turp your henna with essential oils like lavender, tea tree oil, and eucalyptus. These are 3 oils that are widely available in most parts of the US and Canada and other parts of the world. They're fairly common oils, they're not very expensive, and they work really well. Lavender smells really nice in henna paste, so I highly suggest using them. It helps with the dye release process that gets you your beautiful stains. So I suggest using one of those 3 oils, though there are other oils available that work just as well. But those are the top 3. Number 5, allow henna to go through the dye release process before you use it. It's very important that you do this. Mixing your henna very quickly and then turning around and using it right after you've put, your lemon juice or whatever you put in it, you're not going to get the stain that you're looking for. It must go through the dye release process, and that process will range by number of hours depending on where your henna is from. Moroccan henna dye releases very quickly. Henna from India, Pakistan, and in that region tends to dye release within 6 to 8 hours. Henna from Africa, Yemen, and other parts of the Middle East and other parts of the world tends to dye release a little bit slower. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. But I suggest letting your henna go through the dye release process. One day I'll do a video on how long it takes for henna to go through dye release, depending on where it comes from. But we'll get to that point later on. Tip number 6 is apply henna to clean skin. Remove lotions, oils, or anything else that will prevent the henna from touching the skin directly. And sometimes that includes the small hairs that we grow on our arms. Sometimes the henna can't touch the skin because it's floating on top of those little hairs, and then you get breaks in your design. You'll see it after the paste is removed. You're like, oh, there's no henna and where that line was supposed to be. And sometimes that is what happens. And lotions and oils prevent henna from touching the skin or contacting the skin. So you don't get the dye absorbed into the top layers of the skin. So you'll want to remove that. Tip number 7 is henna stains the hands and the feet best. Other parts of the body do not stain as well. There is not much that can be done about that. It's just a fact of life. So you're going to get dark stains on your hands and your feet, sometimes other parts of the body, depending on your skin color or how thin or how thick your skin is. But typically hands and feet are best. Other parts of the body tend to not stain so dark. So the lower back, the belly, the neck, around the ankles or the upper legs, sometimes the shoulders don't stain. You'll get a stain there, but it won't be the dark, dark stain that you're looking for. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Each one of us is different, but hands and feet stain best. Let's see, what's the next tip here? Tip number 8. After application, allow the design to dry about 50%. Then apply a sugar lemon juice syrup on top of the design with a Q-tip or a cotton ball. It's very important to do this because it helps to seal in the design, and the syrup, the sugar lemon juice syrup, creates kind of like a candy shell on the outside of the design and protects it. So if you need to get up and move around and pick things up, it's really good to have this on top of your design. It protects it while it continues to dry. And also it lengthens the drying process, so you have that wet henna paste on your skin for a little bit longer. Tip number 9. If you apply the sugar lemon syrup too soon, the design will bleed and move around. Make sure that the design is crackling a little before applying the syrup. The syrup will keep the design moist and allow more time for the paste to stay on your skin, just as I mentioned before. But you have to be careful. If it is put on too soon, the design will bleed, and the paste will start to slide around, and your design could be ruined. And that's a really sad thing to happen. I've actually had that happen on a really nice design that I did. But you learn from your mistakes. You practice, and that's how I can, in turn, teach you guys these tips. Let's see here. Tip number 10. Keep the henna on your skin as long as possible. 30 minutes is not enough if you want a really dark stain. At least 4 hours is needed for a dark stain, but overnight is best. So some of you email me and say, I had henna on my skin for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and I didn't get a really dark stain. If you want those really, really dark stains, you're going to have to be patient. 4 hours at a minimum. 8 hours is good. If you sleep more than 8 hours overnight is pretty good too. And when you're sleeping, you don't move around as much. If you are going to sleep with henna on, don't sleep on your best sheets because sometimes they do get stained. So keep the henna on as long as possible if you want those dark stains. Tip 11. Do not wrap your design in plastic wrap. I used to do this and it makes your design bleed. Instead, put on cotton gloves or wrap your design in toilet paper. And I mean loose cotton gloves. Of course, that's for the hand, but if you're going to wrap your design, I highly suggest doing it with toilet paper. Toilet paper does get a little sticky and it will stick to the design, but when you move the paste, the toilet paper will go away. So, tip 12. Do not remove your henna paste from the skin with water. So many people do this and it just makes me cringe. Use olive oil or some other type of oil like baby oil, and then scrape with a butter knife. The oil helps to loosen the dry henna paste from the skin. For those of us who have those little hairs, if you ever get dry henna paste attached to them and try to remove it, it can be very painful. It's like removing a band-aid when you have those little hairs on your arms or your legs. And so if you add the oil, it helps, and then just scrape it with a butter knife. Tip 13. After the paste has been removed, apply lotion or oil to the skin. Mendi oil from India is best for stain aftercare, but if not available, shea butter or cocoa butter is fine. So you want to put a lotion over the design that will just help to seal it in. If you use like exfoliating like lotions or scrubs or things like that, that's going to make the design fade quickly. So you'll want to protect your design as best as possible by using like a thicker lotion or a thicker oil. Tip 14, the last one, try not to wash the body part with water for at least 24 hours if possible. I know it's really hard for some of us who wash a lot in their daily lives like I do. I wash my hands quite a bit, and so my designs tend to fade a little bit faster than others who don't wash as much. But if you want your design to stay very, very dark, try not to wash it for 24 hours, especially with heavy soaps. If you absolutely have to wash your hands a bit less than 24 hours after you've applied the design, just do it with water, preferably unchlorinated water, and just do it lightly, not with any scrubbing soap or things like that. So I hope that that helps answer some of the questions about how to get a dark henna stain. If you still have questions or if you have something you want to add, please feel free to add something in the comments or send me a message. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.